Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault 2, and I'm out here in the garage and I'm just finishing up cleaning the Colt M5 carbine and getting ready to put this back in the box so I can take it back to its owner. And I finished the review, sent him the video. He liked it. In general, I had some problems with the gun, especially when it comes to the sights and the accuracy, but it was good to review, and I'm glad that I did. I don't know if it's necessarily worth the price, but it was fun. It was a good gun to review. But while I'm out here in the garage, I wanted to make a quick video and ask you guys a couple questions. The first question is, how are you guys celebrating the big national holiday today, March the 21st? What? You guys don't know what the holiday is? Well, it's my birthday. Yeah, I turned 44 years old today. Oh my gosh. Man, when I was younger, I thought that was old, and here I am. And it went by fast. Hopefully I have many years ahead of me, but man, I'm going through my existential crisis right now. My midlife crisis. I feel good, you know. The only things I suffer from at this age is I have some early onset rheumatoid arthritis and maybe a little bit of high blood pressure. But that's it. Otherwise, I'm healthy. I feel good. Mentally, I feel young. Maybe it's because I teach music to kids, you know, middle school, high school level. And I'm around that. I got 4 boys. One's 20 and 3 are about to turn 19. I kind of feel a little bit connected to that generation. So I don't feel as old. But yeah, I guess 44... little depressed about that, but I guess it's something that we all have to deal with and contemplate our own mortality, our existence, what lies beyond. You know, it's the way it goes. I guess no one gets to leave this earth alive, right? But let's talk about something else, and that is the story that was going on, I guess, in, was it Arkansas? A friend of mine who's an FFL and SOT, and somebody I talk guns with a lot, messaged me and goes, "Hey, Jason, what do you think about what happened in Arkansas and the ATF, like, raiding this guy in the middle of the night, doing a no-knock search warrant and killing him?" And I was like, I haven't even heard about this story. So I started to look it up. Excuse me, cough a little bit. And I got some more information on it. And my first reaction was, we need to wait and find out the full story. Because, you know, as gun owners, we get so upset with the mainstream media and politicians who jump on the let's ban guns bandwagon when something bad happens. You guys know, like, if something happens at a school, for example, a mass tragedy event, the first thing the media does is say, we need to ban AR-15s. And then we go, whoa, hold on a second. The bodies aren't even cold. Why don't we wait and find out exactly what happened, what their motivations were, before we start saying we need to have different policies and more gun control? Because most of the time, when we actually find out what happened, it wasn't the media narrative, and we all kind of expect that. It was actually a guy that maybe had a revolver, right? It wasn't an AR-15, so banning AR-15s wouldn't have changed anything. And so we have a legitimate argument there. Don't rush to conclusions. But I think as a gun community, we have to do the same when things happen that appear to be anti-gun, or like this event in Arkansas where the ATF raids some guy. Because I saw a bunch of people on a bunch of YouTube channels about this event all saying the ATF committed more murder. They're just going after lawful gun owners. This guy just bought a couple of guns at a gun store and multiple things, and they just raided his house. They're out of control. And I'm like, okay, hold up. Okay, maybe that's the case, right? Maybe that's the case. And we're going to find out if it is. Just give it some time. And lo and behold, some people got a hold of the actual warrant that was used to execute this, I guess, no-knock search. Now, I do want to say that in general, I am very much against no-knock search warrants, because I feel like they only escalate situations. They put the people that might be subject to these search warrants at risk, and they also put the officers and the agents at risk. Like, going all the way back to the 1990s with, like, the Waco thing with David Koresh. If the ATF just would have waited for him to go to the store, like, they knew his habits. He was going to get in his truck one day and, you know, go to the grocery store. Well, that's the time to pull him over and arrest him right there. He'd be away from his arsenal and all the people. That's the time to do it. This guy in Arkansas, I guess, was the executive of some airport. So they could have easily gone in to his place of work during normal business hours when he's probably sitting behind his desk during lunch hour, eating a taco, and just walk in the room and just arrest him, right? He won't be around his guns. The agents won't have to worry about that. Nobody has to get shot. Nobody has to get killed, and they can proceed with their investigation, okay? So the ATF is at fault at this a little bit. But also, this guy effed around and found out, okay? And it's like the Matt Hoover case. You know, I always say, in general, if you make good decisions in life, you're not going to run afoul of any of these tyrannical three-letter agencies, okay? I mean, we all know the ATF is probably corrupt. Well, mainly the administrators, the people at the top, right? They are anti-gun, and I don't trust them. But for the most part, many of the field agents are probably trying to do good things. You know, like trying to get those Glock switches out of the hands of gang members in, you know, downtown New York or whatever. And occasionally a blind squirrel catches a nut from time to time. And I really feel like most of the ATF enforcement stuff is that kind of thing. So, you know, they're not investigating you as long as you're not selling guns illegally, right? Or using guns in crimes or importing Glock switches or whatever. They really aren't following you. They're not going to come knocking at your door, right? Unless you do something that's getting close to that gray area or crosses the line into illegality. But this guy in Arkansas, based off of the warrant and the investigation, was selling guns illegally. He was buying multiples. I'm talking like 10 or 15 of the same gun, and then within a couple of days, he was selling them at gun shows to people without any type of paperwork. You know, maybe private sales are legal in Arkansas, like they are here in Texas, but generally you want to do like a bill of sale, right? But if you go and buy a gun with the intent of selling it and flipping it or whatever immediately, that's considered to be in the business of selling firearms. And I think that we all agree that's illegal. It's not right for someone to go to a gun store, buy a bunch of the same gun, then literally go to some other place and sell those guns immediately. Okay, you can argue it's a private sale, but you know you're opening up a whole can of worms. We all know the intention was not to buy the firearm for your own personal use, and then later you're like, you know what? I took it to the range. I don't like this gun. It doesn't shoot well for me, and then you sell it. That's a completely different thing. I think we've all done that, right? We've all gone to the store. Man, I can't wait to get this new gun that comes out. You go buy it, you take it to the range, and holy crap, does it suck. And you're like, I don't like this. I really thought I was going to love this thing. It's not for me, and you end up selling it a couple weeks later. But you did not buy the gun with the intent of selling it, right? That was never your intention. You bought it for you to use, and then you used it and were like, this sucks. Well, maybe it's the gun for somebody else. So that was the intent. But this guy was buying multiple of the same guns and literally selling them to people and helping them get firearms without paperwork, right? So it looks like he was definitely trafficking illegal firearms, and many of his guns were turning up in crime scenes around the country. Okay, so this was not some like innocent, you know, gun owner that went to his local gun shop, bought a pistol and a rifle, and they had to do that multiple transactions form, and the ATF's like, let's go raid him. It wasn't that. So it looks like this guy was doing some bad stuff. So, you know, he found out the hard way, right? And once again, this is why I'm not a big fan of these no-knock search warrants, right? Because if they just would have arrested him at his place of work, all of this could have been avoided. They could have executed the search warrant safely, gotten all the evidence that they needed, and that would have been it, right? But a bunch of gun owners in our gun community rushed to the conclusion immediately that this is the ATF overstepping their bounds. They're tyrannical. And when the actual news comes out, you're like, okay. They shouldn't have done the no-knock warrant. The guy shouldn't have been killed, okay? We all agree with that. However, it looks like he wasn't some innocent gun owner. You know, it's just like Matt Hoover. I tell you guys all the time, you know, the world is not fair. Now, you guys just have to accept this. The world is not fair. There will never be a day when the government and these three-letter agencies are going to respect your individual constitutional rights. It is never going to happen. As much as you guys want to live in some utopian world, right? It's never going to happen. They're always going to be stepping on you. So knowing that ahead of time, it's imperative that you make smart choices. Okay? Like with Matt Hoover. He poked the bear, as I say. He decided to sell a product and claim that you could scratch your full auto itch. Now, we all know telling people that, whether or not, and I agree, it was just an etching on a stupid piece of metal. And we all agree, we all know the stories. They couldn't make it work. I get it. I totally get it. But why risk your life, your freedom, your family, everything you own, because you wanted to sell a stupid piece of metal? Was it worth it? Is it your constitutional right? I guess. But you know what the government's going to do. You know you're fighting an uphill battle against an entity that has unlimited funds and will do everything in their power to take you out. So why don't you save that energy and those resources for a real fight? You know, maybe one day they truly overstep their bounds and come knocking on everyone's door that's ever filled out a 4473 and try to confiscate their guns. Okay, we've crossed the line there. I think we'd all agree. But, like, why get upset when some guy is essentially selling something that doesn't work, claiming it does, telling people that they could, you know, bypass the NFA and commit all this, essentially a felonious federal crime. And then when he gets caught and they go after him, everyone's all pissed off. I'm like, well, it's not like they just found this random person, right? He made poor choices and he brought the attention on himself. And this guy in Arkansas was doing bad things, it appears, right? Looks like there's a lot of evidence. It's not like the ATF, which is like, well, this guy bought multiple guns. We need to go raid his house. I mean, in this warrant, it looks like they had investigations, they had pictures, they had evidence. He was buying lots of guns, lots of the same model guns. You know, when I buy multiple guns, and I've done this before, gone to a gun store and maybe they have two pistols I want. They're two different models, right? I'll go, like the last time I bought two guns at the same time, I happened to be at a place called Shields, and they had a Glock 40, which I was really interested in, and they had a SIG M17 deployed pistol, right? Two totally different things that serve two totally different purposes in my gun collection. I bought them, right? I know they filled out a multiple transaction sheet on me, okay? But it's not like I went and bought 19 Glock 22s of the same type, same model. And, you know, it's obvious maybe something's going on there, right? And it's not like they immediately went to his house. They did some investigating. They had witnesses. They had undercover agents that were buying from him, asking him questions and so forth. So the guy wasn't some innocent, just random gun owner. But so many people in the gun world jumped on that bandwagon, and that makes us look bad. Just like when the media jumps to conclusions, it makes them look bad. The politicians look like fools. When gun owners jump to a conclusion, when this stuff happens, it makes us look like a fools. But I'm curious, did you guys hear about this story? If not, I'll try to find a link to it, and I'll put it in the description below, or maybe a comment. Go over there, see what it's all about, and see what you guys think. And I know people in the comment section are going to tell me, Jason, you're a bootlicker. They always tell me that. But all I'm saying is, if you're smart and don't do what you're not supposed to do, and don't get in the gray area and flaunt it, no one's going to know. Right? No one's going to care. No one cares. Just like, for example, I told you in the past, I've been at the range before, and I have seen somebody with what would be a short-barreled rifle. Somebody like bought an AR pistol, okay? They have no idea about what the NFA is. And they replaced the pistol brace with a stock, okay? And I'm talking to them like, man, that's a pretty cool SBR. That's pretty sweet. And they go, what are you talking about? What's an SBR? I said, a short-barreled rifle. Yeah, I mean, look at that. That thing's beautiful. I'm trying to talk to them, and I'm not asking them about paperwork, but then all of a sudden they're like you could tell, like the blank look on their face. They have no idea what the NFA is and that they're in the possession of an illegal gun, right? You can't have it. But I'm not going to say anything, and nobody cares or knows because they're not flaunting it. They're not out there doing anything with it. They're not committing crimes with it, right? Just don't ask, don't tell. So I'm like, oh, well, it's not my place to say anything, so I'm not going to say anything. But people that go out there, flaunt this, do bad things, and bring attention to themselves, even if it's gray area stuff, well, they're going to get what they're going to get. And sometimes the ATF does good work. Like, it appears that the ATF, except for the no-knock warrant, which they just should have arrested him at work, it looks like they did their due diligence. It wasn't some just off-the-cuff, let's just go arrest some random gun owner and harass them. Because I just don't see that happening. You know, I just don't see the ATF going and knocking on people's doors because, hey, you bought 4 guns over the past year. Maybe they do, but they don't come with no-knock warrants. They don't even come with warrants. I mean, I've seen the videos where they're like, hey, you bought multiple guns on this date. Can we see them? Well, do you have a warrant? Nope. Okay, no. And they go away, right? Just be smart about it. Just be smart about it. And you won't have any issue. But I don't know. I'm curious what you guys think about all this. I really think that we all should just be smart. We all should be patient and just do things the right way, right? We need to fight to change the gun laws. We need to fight to defund the ATF. I completely agree with all that. We need to stop these no-knock search warrants unless it's like an immediate thing with like kidnapping or terrorism or something of that nature. But on the other hand, we just got to calm down and be patient and do things the right way. Make good decisions, make smart decisions. And I really think it would help us in the long run. So that's my thoughts on all this. Just want to talk about it. And I need to get this M5 back in the box and get ready to take back to the owner. So anyway, what's the word of the day? The word of the day for today's rant is going to be smart, because we got to do things the smart way. And the guy in Arkansas was not smart. Matt Hoover was not smart. But hopefully, many of you guys are. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. And thanks for joining me here in the garage on my birthday. So as always, thanks for watching.